Let me tell you about a guy who saved up for 3 months to buy his first drone. He unboxed the DJI Neo 2, charged the battery overnight, drove 40 minutes to the most beautiful lake he could find, and on his very first real flight, he watched it slowly drift downward, touch the water, and sink. Gone. 3 months of savings in about 11 seconds. That story is real. And the worst part? It was completely 100% avoidable if he had known just one thing before takeoff. Today, I'm going to give you 10 of those things. Not generic drone tips you can find anywhere. Specific, documented, real-world mistakes that Neo 2 pilots are making right now. Mistakes that are costing people footage, signal, and sometimes the drone itself, permanently. Stay until the end, because mistake number 10 is the one nobody talks about, and it might be the most dangerous of all. Let's go. Mistake 1. Flying over water like it's completely safe. Water shots look incredible. Beaches, lakes, rivers, ocean spray catching the light. There is a reason drone footage over water goes viral constantly. The Neo 2 was basically made for those shots, and I completely understand why new pilots chase them immediately. Here's the problem nobody warns you about before you're standing at the edge of a lake. The Neo 2's downward-facing sensors, the ones responsible for altitude hold and stable hovering, can be fooled by water. Specifically by the way light reflects off the surface. When you hover low over a lake or ocean in tracking mode, those sensors start misreading the distance to the ground. The drone genuinely thinks it's higher than it actually is, so it compensates. It descends, slowly, quietly, without any dramatic warning. It does not drop suddenly. It does not beep loudly and tell you something is wrong. It just drifts downward, inch by inch, while you're watching the beautiful footage on your phone and thinking everything looks great. There is a documented case of this happening during a slow bike follow shot, one of the most common use cases for this drone. Stable tracking, calm conditions, beautiful scenery, and a slow, invisible descent straight toward the water. The pilot noticed just late enough to fish the drone out, disassemble it, dry every component carefully, and miraculously, it survived. Most do not get that second chance. And here's the part that makes water even more dangerous than anything else you'll fly over. If you lose signal while the drone is hovering over water, which can happen at distance, which can happen with phone-only control, which can happen faster than you expect, the drone will simply hover and wait for reconnection. And if the battery drains while it's waiting, the return to home function will attempt to land the drone, wherever it happens to be hovering, which is over water. The rules are simple. Fly higher over water than you think you need to, significantly higher. If you're new to the Neo 2, skip the low-altitude water shots entirely until you genuinely understand how this drone behaves in different conditions. And always, always use the physical controller when flying near water, not just your phone. Mistake 2. Skipping DJI Care Refresh because you think you won't need it. I know. This one sounds like a boring insurance lecture. Stick with me for 60 seconds, because there is a specific detail here that catches people off guard, and by the time most pilots find out about it, it is already too late. DJI Care Refresh is the protection plan that covers your Neo 2 against crashes, water damage, and signal loss flyaways. What most beginners don't realize is that there is a hard activation window after you purchase the drone. It's not open-ended. You cannot wait until after your first close call and then decide to sign up. Once that window closes, it's closed. Full stop. Think about what this drone is actually designed for. It is small enough to carry everywhere, into forests, onto boats, up mountains, through tight indoor spaces on vacation. The portability that makes it so appealing is the same quality that puts it in more risky situations than a larger drone would ever encounter. Statistically, something eventually goes wrong with any aircraft. That is not pessimism. That is physics and probability. The question is not whether you'll have a close call, it's whether you'll be covered when you do. Activate DJI Care Refresh before your first flight. Not after your first scare, before your very first flight. It takes 10 minutes, and the peace of mind it provides is genuinely worth every dollar. Mistake 3. Trusting obstacle avoidance like it's infallible here is the trap the Neo 2 sets for you, and it does it so smoothly you won't even notice it happening until something goes wrong. The obstacle avoidance on this drone is actually impressive. You do a few tracking shots in a park. The drone ducks under a low branch. It navigates around a thick tree, reacquires your position on the other side, and keeps going like nothing happened. Your brain absorbs this and draws a very clean conclusion: the drone handles it. That conclusion conclusion will get your drone destroyed. Obstacle avoidance is a driver assistance feature, not an autopilot system. It is helpful the same way a car's lane keeping assist is helpful until you rely on it so completely that you stop actually driving. Thin branches confuse it. Wires are practically invisible to it. Fast lateral movements in complex environments can outpace its processing entirely. In one documented real-world test, a slow, casual follow shot around a thick pole, not a wire, not a twig, a thick pole, ended with the drone impacting it and going into the water. The avoidance system simply did not catch it in time. The rule that experienced pilots follow without exception, tracking modes are assistance features. The moment you stop actively watching the drone because you assume it's managing everything, your risk skyrockets. The pattern is almost universal. It's always when you relax that things go sideways. Watch the drone. Always. Even when it's doing everything right. Mistake 4 RTN3 range, now specified as 10 km, with digital transceiver. One of the genuinely brilliant things about the Neo 2 is that you can fly it with nothing but your smartphone. No controller, no extra gear, no setup, just launch it from your palm and start shooting. For close range, casual shots in familiar environments, this is fantastic. It is one of the features that makes the Neo 2 feel genuinely futuristic. The mistake happens when confidence builds naturally and pilots start stretching that setup beyond what it was designed for. Phone-only control over Wi-Fi has a shorter effective range than you'd expect, and signal behavior near obstacles, in crowded ARF environments, and at distance is less predictable than with a dedicated controller. Losing signal with a small drone that visually disappears at 100 meters is a completely different experience than losing signal with a larger drone you can still see. The disorientation happens instantly. Pilots start making random inputs, canceling the return to home, running in circles trying to re-establish connection, making the situation actively worse. If you are flying any real distance from your position, if you are near water, near obstacles, or in a location where a lost drone would be a serious problem, use the ARC N3 controller paired with the optional digital transceiver. That combination unlocks up to 10 kilometers of video transmission range under ideal conditions. That is not a minor luxury. It fundamentally changes the safety profile of your flight. Think of the phone as your tool for quick creative shots nearby, and the controller setup as your tool for anything that matters. Mistake 5 launching in wind. Because the drone looks stable, this is the mistake that fools even experienced pilots. And it does it every single time using the exact same trick. You hold out the drone, feel a breeze, and look up at it in the air. It holds position. It looks composed. It looks completely under control. So your brain makes a completely logical and completely wrong conclusion. It's fine. Let's fly. What you are not seeing is the workload happening inside that drone to maintain that position. The motors are running significantly harder. The drone is tilting at a steep angle, sometimes 15, 20 degrees, just to hold still against the wind. The power consumption is dramatically elevated, and that has a direct, unavoidable impact on your battery life. Real numbers from a real test. In wind conditions with gusts between 40 and 50 kilometers per hour, battery was already at 45% after just 7 minutes of flight. That gives you roughly 13 minutes maximum before the drone cannot make it back. In a headwind return, that might not be enough. There is a second trap buried inside this one that is even more dangerous. At ground level, conditions often feel mild. You launch in what feels like a gentle breeze. You fly out with the tailwind helping you, so the outbound journey feels smooth and easy. Then you turn around, and suddenly, the drone is fighting to make progress. You burn through battery much faster heading back than you did going out. By the time you realize the math is wrong, you are already in trouble. The rule, stable in wind, does not mean safe. It means the drone is working hard. When gusts are severe enough that the drone is visibly tilting to hold position, that is a ground day. Stay home, fly tomorrow. Mistake 6 assuming active track is reliable at high speed. In complex environments, the Neo 2's tracking capability genuinely earns its reputation. At 12 meters per second, that is around 43 kilometers per hour, it can keep pace with cyclists and runners in open environments. That is not marketing language. That is legitimately impressive for a $200 drone. The mistake is treating speed capability as a blanket reliability guarantee. Tracking works beautifully on a predictable path in an open environment. A runner on a straight beach, a cyclist on a clear road, a consistent readable subject against a clean background. That is where it shines. Push it into complex terrain with multiple obstacles, sharp, unpredictable direction changes, or a subject who moves out of frame suddenly, and the failure rate climbs significantly. When tracking fails at walking pace, you have time to intervene. When tracking fails at 40 kilometers per hour, the margin for error compresses to almost nothing. The drone does not know it lost the lock as gracefully as you want it to. The approach that works? Use active track enthusiastically in the environments it was designed for. Open field, predictable movement, minimal obstacles, go for it. Tight forest trail, erratic subject, obstacles in every direction. Keep your thumb near the controls and be ready to take over the instant anything looks uncertain. The confidence to fly fast should come from the environment, not from the drone's spec sheet. Mistake 7 test speed was 4 EMSers, not 2 EMSs. Prop guard weight now specific the Neo 2's battery is rated at 19 minutes of flight time. That number is accurate under one very specific set of conditions. No wind, forward flight at exactly 4 meters per second. Camera shooting 1080p at 30 FPS with video mode off. Ideal laboratory conditions that virtually no real-world flight ever replicates. In actual use, with movement, with wind, with 4K video recording running, real flight time lands closer to 11 to 15 minutes. In meaningful wind, it can be less. This is not a flaw in the drone. It is just the difference between a controlled test and real flying. The mistake beginners make consistently is budgeting their shots around 19 minutes and then getting blindsided when the critical battery warning fires at 12. Now, you are mid-shot, mid-sequence, mid-location, and you are rushing an emergency return and landing on whatever happens to be below you. Build your plans around 12 minutes of usable flight. Set your return warning generously, not at the minimum. Critically, do not treat the low battery alert as the signal to begin heading back. By the time that alert fires, you have already waited too long. One more thing worth knowing. Flying with propeller guards adds about 8 grams of weight. That is roughly 5% of the drone's total weight, which is enough to drop your real-world flight time by around 2 minutes compared to flying without them. As a beginner, you absolutely should fly with the guards on. The protection is worth it. Just factor that reduction into your estimates and you will never be caught short. Mistake 8, filling up internal storage without realizing it. This one sounds like a minor inconvenience, a small annoyance, something you deal with and move on from. It is not. In the right circumstances, or the wrong ones, depending on how you look at it, it is the mistake that costs you the single best shot of an entire trip. The Neo 2 has no micro SD card slot. Storage is internal only. You get approximately 49 gigabytes, which sounds generous until you start shooting 4K at high frame rates consistently across multiple days without offloading footage between sessions. Here is the scenario that plays out more often than you'd think. You're on a 3-day trip. You've been flying every morning, every evening, capturing everything. Day 4. The conditions are absolutely perfect. Golden hour, perfect location, everything you came for. You launch, you frame up the shot, you press record. Nothing records. Storage is full. There is no card to swap. There is no quick fix. You have to connect to a device, offload footage, wait, and hope the light holds. Sometimes it does. Often it doesn't. Check your available storage before every single flight. Not once a day. Before every flight. It takes 3 seconds. It is the smallest habit with the largest potential consequence if you skip it. Mistake 9, relying on gesture control when precision or speed is required. Gesture control on the Neo 2 is one of those features that feels like actual science fiction the first time it works. You raise your fist, the drone activates. You open your hand, it starts following your movement. No controller, no phone, just your hands telling the drone what to do. It is genuinely impressive. But like every impressive feature on this drone, it comes with a specific set of conditions it needs to work reliably, and specific situations where it quietly falls apart. Bright, harsh sunlight creates extreme contrast that confuses the gesture recognition system. Busy backgrounds with multiple moving elements, crowds, traffic, trees moving in wind, make it significantly harder for the drone to isolate your hands from the noise around them. In those conditions, responses slow down, commands get missed, and occasionally, the drone responds to the wrong input entirely. The dangerous version of this scenario, you need to gesture the drone away from an obstacle quickly. The recognition is sluggish. The drone doesn't respond in time. What you intended as an emergency command becomes a delayed reaction in the wrong moment. Gesture control is excellent for relaxed shooting in controlled conditions. Clean background, good light, calm environment, no time pressure. The moment a situation requires speed or precision, switch to your controller. Do not trust gesture control as your primary safety mechanism. It was never designed to be that. Mistake 10, treating the Neo 2 like a toy because it feels like one. I saved this one for last, because it is the most honest, most important thing I can say about this drone, and I want you to really hear it. The DJI Neo 2 is engineered to feel effortless. Every single design decision, the size, the palm takeoff, the gesture controls, the automatic tracking, the protective cage, sends your brain the same message: this is easy, this is safe, this is under control. And it works. It genuinely feels that way. The engineering is extraordinary. But here is what happens over time, slowly and invisibly, when you fly something that feels completely safe and completely managed. You stop doing the checks. You stop watching the drone during tracking. You stop thinking about the wind. You stop calculating the battery math. You stop asking what happens if something goes wrong, because nothing has gone wrong yet, and the drone has handled everything so far. And then, at the exact moment you've decided it's got this, that's when it doesn't. The overwhelming majority of Neo 2 crashes are not caused by equipment failure. They are caused by pilots who stopped paying attention at precisely the wrong moment. The drone earned their trust completely, and they let that trust slide into complacency. The Neo 2 is a remarkable aircraft. Treat it like one. Do the pre-flight checks. Watch the environment before you launch. Respect the wind. Know your battery math. Have a plan for what happens if something goes wrong, because that level of preparation is the difference between a drone that lasts for years and one that ends a flight prematurely in a bush, a lake, or a tree. Respect the machine. It will reward you every time. So let's bring all 10 of this together into the one thing you can actually do right now. Go through that list, one by one. Most of these fixes take 30 seconds. Check your storage, activate DJI Care Refresh, set your battery warning correctly, understand what that wind is actually doing to your flight time. Small habits, 30 seconds each. And the difference between a pilot who loses a drone and one who doesn't is almost always found in those 30 seconds. The Neo 2 doesn't crash. Pilots crash the Neo 2. If you are about to fly for the first time or even the 5th time, the next video on this channel walks you through exactly what to do before your very first takeoff, the specific setup steps, settings, and checks that experienced pilots do automatically. It is the video that pairs directly with this one. Click it now. And if this video saved you from even one of these mistakes, drop it in the comments below. I read everything. I'll see you in the next one.